PK52, the Saturday morning meeting. Hey, we got a special series, and we're going to try to break this into a 3 or 4 part series, and it's all about moving yourself to the next level. So I'm KC next with XL Automotive Training. Sitting next to me is
Laura Madison with Allen Ram's Proactive Training Solutions.
If you guys know me, you've seen Laura in many of my videos, and you've also seen me feature her in my training classes. So let me give you a little background. So years ago, Laura was extremely young, working in a dealership, and I need to frame this because I want you guys to understand it was a single point dealership, and it was a one price store. So if you've never worked in a one price store before, if the customer doesn't like the price, you don't have a car deal. So I mean, that's a little bit of pressure on the salesperson because you can't go to the desk and get a $500 dip and then go back and say, hey, we got a great deal for you. The deal was already made. So it was in Bozeman, Montana, which is surrounded by a state where nobody lives, in a city where nobody lives, closest to Yellowstone National Park where nobody lives. So Laura made over $100,000 multiple times selling cars, and she did it without taking the traditional floor ups. I had a meeting one time, and I still remember the meeting. It's been years ago, but it was my meeting on by appointment only, how a salesperson promotes their self by starting to sell themselves. Not the dealership, not the brand, but why should you do business with me? At the end, this woman looks at me and says, would you spend a few minutes with me after the class? And I looked at her, I said, that would be fantastic. You see what I'm saying? And so she sat down there and immediately said, I don't want to take ups anymore. I want to do everything social media. And I said, well, that's really not possible. Why is that? She goes, well, in Bozeman in the winter, it's minus 20 degrees. I don't want to go outside. I thought that was one of the best things I'd ever heard. And I told her, you got to take ups, you got to build your client base through the dealership traffic, and while you're building your social media, pay your bills, and boy, was I wrong. Boy, was I ever wrong. I mean, this woman went at this thing more aggressive than any salesperson I've ever seen before. And so I'm going to make her brag on herself a little bit. She's not good at it, so you give her a little second. But so she goes out there and she starts creating this social dynasty in the middle of nowhere, United States. And the next thing you know, she's featured in
Automotive News.
Could you tell them just a second about how they contacted you and what happened with that?
Yeah, I mean, once we really started to pick up traction, which didn't take long, after I really started trying Facebook, YouTube, a number of other platforms, and listen, I didn't have a marketing degree, I didn't have really any real idea, I just knew what I didn't want to do. I didn't want to stand out there in negative 20 degrees. I really wanted to be able to build this, have people walking through the front door asking for me, and work the car deal from there. So once we started to get traction, once people started calling and emailing and coming in saying, hey, I saw your video, that's when we really started to realize that we were onto something, and that I was able to formulate this game plan for being able to use social media to sell cars. So it wasn't long that I started leading the board. We had Automotive News, Edmunds, Advertising Age, a number of other sources reach out to feature it because it was profound, you know, at the time. And I thought, gosh, this is so simple. What the activity that I'm engaged in that's motivating people from all over to reach out and to want to buy a car from me, it was simple stuff.
You know, as salespeople, we don't normally read Automotive News. You're not sent to the dealer or the general manager. So when they contacted Laura, she was really unfamiliar with the format of Automotive News. She'd never read Automotive News. And they said, hey, we found you out there. We think what you're doing is wonderful. Can we come do a photo shoot of you and feature you? There's no salespeople featured in Automotive News. It's all about some gimmicky thing and a new generation car sales. So all of a sudden, right in the middle of this magazine, this picture of this girl from Montana and what she's doing, and I got to tell you, girl, you were on the map at that point.
Yeah, it was wild. I mean, when they print those articles, they go out at midnight. So I woke up about 5 a.m., my alarm goes off, and my website had crashed. There had been so much traffic from Automotive News to lauradrives.com that it had crashed. I mean,
okay.
It was crazy.
I don't know if you guys have been listening to me ever, but she crashed a website because now people knew who she, that's all it takes. The more people that know this, the more cars you're going to sell. So, you know, when reality really hit you, you were telling me a story about a lady who had been fishing on the internet. And do you mind just kind of rekindling that story?
Yeah, I had an internet lead. This was at a time at the dealership where they were round-robining the internet leads. And what I was still really interested in, what I had been interested in from the outset, was sourcing my own business. But I was thinking, okay, I've got to take the phone ups, I've got to take some lot ups, you know, especially at the beginning, and I've got to take these internet leads. So I get an internet lead that's got no contact information, almost no information in the lead itself, and I'm thinking, this is both, this is not the real deal, but it was on a Camry hybrid. And it was cold that day, so I go out to the lot, and I'm not really interested in doing a full walk around because it's too cold and I don't want to be standing outside. So I give them a quick, video with my cell phone of the outside of the car. Then I sit in, I adjust the phone, I slant it right there on the dash, I introduce myself to them, and I get a call a couple hours later from the woman who had provided no phone number, and her husband are on speaker, and they said, we've been shopping all around, we've been looking for a replacement, we live about 6 hours from you, we weren't really planning on coming down there, and they set a Saturday morning appointment. They said there's nobody else that had done anything like that, and they really felt compelled to come see me.
And you sold them a Camry hybrid?
I sold them a Highlander.
So the lady was lying to Laura. She wasn't looking for a car. She was looking for somebody that she felt comfortable with so she could go pick up something to drive. And that's the thing that's the difference. If you guys are hearing me, you want to make more money in the car business, if you want to go to the next level, stop selling cars. Anybody can sell a car. Start selling yourself, because a Toyota is so well made, it doesn't matter where you go to drive the car, they're all going to drive the same. We've really got that down, and I'll tell you a joke right now that's not a joke. If you're buying a Chrysler today, you better drive the one you're buying, because it might not be good. So it's not the car anymore, because people know. It's that salesperson that singles themselves out. Hey, I want to end this segment right now and not make these too long. So this has been PK52, the first segment with Laura Madison, the Saturday Morning Meeting.